attacked it. This, if you remember,
No,
that we have
but General
sort
Sahab,
of
there is also this entire aspect that the Taliban cadre, that is largely the Pashtun Afghan cadre, are not very inclined to actually come and attack India, because there is a clear perception there that they have got no bone to pick with India.
absolutely.
And their interest is Khorasan, their interest is Afghanistan. So they are more interested because the inputs also say that the Pakistanis have been trying to get TTP or certain factions of the TTP also involved into this group, but the TTP so far has refused. They don't want to get involved and they don't want to see Taliban presence on Indian soil. And there is a reason behind that, because strategically India is doing a lot to help Afghanistan. 50,000 metric tons of wheat is going from India. All the COVID vaccines went from India. Blankets went from India. Humanitarian aid went from India. India is the first one of the nations in this region which said we'll continue to help the people of Afghanistan irrespective of this forceful takeover or changeover which has happened. So there are those elements too. My question is also the fact that if India knows all of this, what are we waiting for? Why aren't we going it and doing a preemptive strike? Or are we waiting for them to fill up to the brim and then eradicate them altogether in terms of the kind of extermination exercise that will happen? Because now Pakistan will be ready for an airstrike. So it's not an airstrike. It's got to happen in another fashion. So if we can get this information, clearly the powers that be have more information as to what is going on over there. Dr. Monica Verma.
I think it's extremely important for us to be doing a preemptive strike instead of just waiting, like you said, waiting for things to turn even more dangerous. But I think right now we ourselves are caught in a lot of things, and these news are not new. Since Taliban has come back in power, we have been looking at certain events taking place in the PoK region, and I think we must actually, instead of thinking of the preemptive strike, we can at least do a lot of lobbying and publicity effort at making sure Pakistan does not get an easy exit from the FATF grey list in October. So there is already a lot of effort being put by the Pakistan establishment, and the government is literally lobbying with all the friendly countries so that there's a good image of Pakistan being projected, so that Pakistan is being seen as someone who has cut down on the number of terrorists in the PoK region. But that's not quite true, as we are the number one victim, and we ourselves know the kind of reports that are coming in from PoK. So I think doing a strike at this moment won't be good or won't suit India's interest as much as making sure that the world knows about it. And I think this could be done through various methods. We can put our own diplomatic dispensation to that effect. We can also use our own media. We can talk about it at all the platforms that matter. And if this message reaches the important actors who play a great role in the FATF, that Pakistan must not get an exit from the grey list, that would be our task well done.
Well, if Pakistan continues to remain in the grey list, then these jihadis continue to remain in that side, or they will have to look at ulterior motives. That means the cost of war or cost of this proxy war becomes far more dearer to Pakistan. What we've done somewhere over the last 3-4 years or 4-5 years is that we've made the cost of waging a war against India far more dearer to the Pakistanis, and it's pinching them because they cannot pull out a penny when they don't have any. So that's what's happening. I've just got an update coming through. Tejinder Sodhi is bringing us a big update, and I'll get your thoughts on this to our panel here, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news, and there's news just coming through at this point, that the Indian Army will set up 4G and 5G based mobile cellular network of its own to be used in mountainous terrain at altitudes of up to 18,000 feet. Now, this move is to counter the 5G network that the PLA has installed on its side along the LAC in eastern Ladakh. The Army has issued an open request for information for this, seeking bids from companies to provide the technology to field formations posted in such high terrain. High-speed network will be installed within 12 months of the contract being signed, and this comes days after the PLA and the CCP installed a 5G along the line of actual control. Tejinder Sodhi now joins us live with more details. So India is also now wanting to match up as far as tech, because one of the concerns was that the Chinese 5G network could actually disrupt our communication lines and it could blind our radars.
Yes, Anand, you see now the Indian Army has issued an open request for information from all the companies which deal in cellular networks, asking them that the Indian Army wants the information about them setting up the 4G and 5G network that could be operational at up to the height of 18,000 feet. So this is being done to counter China. We know that just a few days ago, China has set up its network, 5G network, near the line of control on its own side in the eastern Ladakh, which has been disrupting the communication on Indian side, and it has so as to make sure that there is high speed data available for the Indian Army, high speed the voice calling, clarity in voice calling, and also security in those voice calling which the army needs. So this open request for information has been given by the Indian Army, requesting all the companies across India to come out with the bids and give them the specifications of the network that they would be installing for the army. Yes, Anand.
Right. Thank you for your inputs, Tejinder. Quick comment from General Siwach and our other panelists. General Siwach, you've served on this side also and along the line of actual control. Now, I'm going to ask you, are we a little too late? Because the Chinese have already, the PLA has already installed its 5G network. Or is it all right?
No, you see what China has now installed a 5G. It has an adverse impact on our side of the communication, because what is happening, it is also intercepting and also jamming. They have a capability and capacity. Now, the action which Indian Army is taking, that 4G and 5G, is a requirement of day. Have we factored in what the Pakistanis are doing? They are also not far behind, and they have also taken 4G, and they are also having a number of stations wherein their communication system is slightly better. So therefore, it is never too late. We should now start doing 4G and 5G, in the sense that we should able to communicate within ourselves, within the valley. At the same time, we are able to sort of jam the enemy's communication, especially very close to the line of actual control and line of control. My point is that as on today, the collusion which is there between China and Pakistan is becoming very real, and it is becoming more real if you see that they have now started constructing, as far as China is concerned, G915, another highway very close to line of actual control going from Xinjiang to Lhasa. So the Chinese are coming very active now, and the collusion which is taking between China and Pakistan is a real threat in future. We have to factor this. This when we talk about basically two-front war, this will become a ground reality in time to come, and hence whenever we talk about the challenge coming from northern, we should factor even western border and see it how things will unfold in future. And remember the point which is coming is that is not only the air power, which is also a naval power, will make a tremendous impact, and we have.
But it all hinges on communication. I've got Karthik Chopra watching the broadcast, and Dr. Monica Verma, final comment, final word from you, because he's saying that we can use Tetra, we can use fiber networks and other techniques. So on our side, without the risk of jamming, but more importantly, in altitude, line of sight is critical. So we cannot have, we cannot be blinded. So is this timely? Are we a little behind, or do we have the wherewithals to play, to catch up and also to get ahead?
I think more than the wherewithal, at least we have shown some willingness to improve our, capacity in the LAC region, because in 2020 only China had installed 5G network in the LAC region, and in fact, forget the military use, the people who live in these areas have been constantly complaining about not getting access to the communication network. They sometimes have access to the Chinese network, the 4G is working, but in the case of Indian network, they're not able to access it. So I think this open call, this open request by the Indian Army to the companies to provide this network is absolutely late, but also, better late than never. So I think finally we have done some good work on that count, and let's just hope that this is executed on an efficient basis.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for your inputs, Brigadier Datta, General Siwach, and Monica Verma ji. Thank you for joining us here on this edition of The Nation at 5, a special edition. We brought you a world exclusive. We'll take the story forward later tonight on The Right Stand.